Who's that?
Taylor Jenkins.
It gotta be false. Welcome y'all to another episode of the Presidential Executive. What's going on? This is your boy right here, JB. This is my brother over here, El Presidente Rag. What it do?
What's going on, brother? What's the good word?
Oh man, just busy out here, man. We actually won our first tennis match today.
Okay, congrats on that.
You know
Congrats
what I'm
on
saying?
that.
Spent about 3-4 hours out there. So yeah, that was dope, man. The kids were excited. You know, got some confidence back going. So yeah, so that was cool. But y'all go ahead and like this video right now. We're wherever that you stream podcasts. We're on Apple, we're on YouTube, we're on Amazon Music, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Stitcher.
Man, you know what? That was an April Fool's thing. I didn't even realize it when I read it. What I was telling you.
Oh yeah.
I didn't even think about it. I was like, dang, that quick. And I was like, oh wait, duh, April 1st.
Yeah, they gotta be some foolery.
Oh no, they got me because I ain't, I don't even paying attention to stuff like that. I got real quick.
Yeah, my mom reminded me today was that day, so I forgot about it. But niggas will be niggas sometime and do what they do. So I get it. But yeah, man. It's a lot to get into, a lot to talk about. Y'all see the thumbnail, bully ball. A lot to get into. We talking about Marvin, Brian, Jay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And a few other things. You know what I'm saying? A few other things we got on tap here. But
and let me say, because I talked with my cousin Joseph, if you remember. For those of y'all who watched last week, we apologize for the technical difficulties. That was an MLGNW situation. That was beyond our control. Somebody was like, man, I was watching. Y'all just cut the feed off. I was like, nah, that wasn't us. And he do pay his bills.
And I pay the bill now.
I
pay the bill. Yeah, I pay the bill. Pay the bill.
But yeah, so but my cousin Joseph corrected me on something when I spoke about how, like, when we have family members who commit, certain crimes or whatever, and we'll say free this person and we know they're guilty. And he kind of gave me, again, I'm not going to tell the story. That's his story to tell if he decides to tell it. He was in a situation where they tried to railroad him, essentially. And what he did, that ain't what he was, having to do time for. You know what I'm saying? So, in essence, he did do something, but it wasn't. So when I say he did, he didn't do what I thought he had done. Yeah. And he gave me insight on what exactly it was that he did. So I just want to say that, because some people like, look, and he ain't never do nothing that he can't take back or anything like that. He ain't taking no lives out here, no innocence or nothing like that. But the situation was what he got accused of was not what he actually did, and he gave me some insight on that. So, for those of you all I know, my family, some of them watch it. I wasn't trying to throw Joe under the bus. We had a long 2-hour conversation where he was giving me, the ins and outs of it. But man, appreciate you watching, Joe. Cause he called me while he stopped watching it. He was like, I gotta correct you on something there, cause of. But I just wanted to throw that out for those of y'all who saw the episode. We were talking about the situation last week with Say So P and Sauce Walker.
Okay. Yeah.
I wanted to start off with that before.
Okay.
Yeah,
no doubt. So I've heard some people talk about sing the song instead never would have made it, never would have paid it.
Oh no.
Yeah, that was kind of funny, but then the people, keep on rehashing it. So now then it becomes less funny. But the first time I heard it was like, wow, because the comments just be going wow. I'm trying to pull this stuff up now because I'm trying to play, some of what he actually said during the conference, and then, he was on the Ricky Smiley show.
Instead of you saved me, you paid me. No.
Yeah,
I just made it. I don't know if that exists right.
Yeah, it can go like that. So, to give context to it, because there's a lot of ways we can go with this, and I want to go all which ways with it. You know what I'm saying? Because I did want to do like an executive mindset on it. It's been kind of busy, been a lot of stuff popping off going on. But just to set it up, Marvin Sapp, the renowned Grammy Award-winning singer, artist, gospel singer, however you want to call him, preacher, pastor, all that, was at a conference. This is in 2024 when it actually happens in 2024. I thought it was maybe this year.
Oh, so this was something old.
This was 2024, yeah.
Okay.
So it was 2024. He was at some conference. It wasn't his church. And, and there were I guess, giving an offering or doing something like that. I'm just looking, seeing which one I'm going to put up there. Y'all bear with me to see. Let's see.
I mean, so why you doing that? I mean, like, because the way it's framed, and again, we talked about this a few weeks ago, because sometimes videos can be deceptive if it ain't the whole thing, and it's easy to take a clip and be like, oh my God, I can't. But the way it looks, now, if that's the entire context of it, it looks bad. It don't look good. I mean, and again, and we grew up, you know, parents in the church, you know what I'm saying? Like, was it summer crusades and vacation Bible schools and all? Like, we know about all that. So it don't look good. So you got it up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Just hold on. All right. Let's put this bubble up here. It's going to shade my face, though. Well, actually, hold on. I can't do that without. Well, go ahead and talk a little bit more.
Okay, yeah. So, and for those of y'all who don't know, essentially the clip is like him. I guess they're collecting an offering or tied, like, and basically he told the ushers to lock the door. You know, and he repeated it several times. You know, not only close the doors, then lock the doors, and then start basically telling people, you know, how much they needed to give or how many people needed to give a certain amount and everything like that.
Now, I do give him credit. Like, I don't think he said lock. I think he said shut the door. Right? And so I think people was like insinuating that he was thinking like saying lock. But I mean, I get it though, right? So, all right. I'm not sure exactly where it's going to start from, but.
Okay.
Let's see here.
Study scripture, you would notice that whenever God did something in the lives of the patriarchs of old,
I'm gonna have to fast forward some of this
the
too.
patriarchs would pause. They would set up an altar. And they would offer a sacrifice. I asked each and every one of you how many of y'all received something from the word of the Lord. Everyone in this place said these words, I did. Because of your acknowledgement of what God did in word, there is an obligation that is attached to that acknowledgement. In biblical days, they offered livestock, grain. That was a type of currency. Note, if you will, I did not say money. I said currency. And this is what God is saying for at least 1,000 of you in the building. And this is simple. I'm not going to challenge you the way Bishop did. But I know that there's 1,000 individuals under the sound of my voice that can do what I'm about to challenge you all to do. This is simple. 1,000 people giving what I'm about to challenge will be $20,000. 1,000 people giving what I'm about to challenge you all to do.
That's the convention name.
Will be $20,000. Now, for those of us who are on the dais, I'm taking you higher, so put it back. I'm a strong believer that leaders lead not only in time, not only in talent, but also in treasure. Leaders lead in time, talent, and treasure. I was taught a long time ago that it costs to sit up here. There's 1,000 of you. I said close them doors. Ushers, close the doors. Close the doors. Close the doors. We all gonna leave together. Y'all ain't going no place but to the restaurant. There's 1,000 of you tonight, and those that are watching, it's 1,000 that's watching online. This is a small seed. If I get 1,000 online to give this, if I get 1,000 in the sanctuary to give this, that's $40,000 tonight. Now, everyone up here, we've all sowed and seeded, but I need everyone standing up here with us, with me, to plant a seed of $100. Because again, it costs to sit up here. Y'all start moving. Y'all can bring it right now. Come. Even if you're giving tangibly, just put your hand on the, take your phone and stick it on the
right.
And then I misspoke. Like he said, close the door. Something like one of them times. I guess the Mandela effect. You think it's something that's there that's not. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, he didn't say lock the doors. Actually, he just said close the doors three times.
He said close them. He said close them. So
close the doors.
Close the doors. Now he saw the swag he did with the close the door. Like close it. Nah, I'm for real. Close it. Like he gave him that. You know what I mean? So, hey man, all right. To break this down now, first off, we're talking about just imagery and how it looks. It's a bad look, right? And just how it. If you're not a part of church culture, just like Rag said, I grew up in a Baptist church before even we went to Breath, and even some in Breath. Like you said, the conferences, crusades, guests we may have, guest speakers, you know what I'm saying? I remember similar things happening. You know what I'm saying? People saying things of such like, it may be 50 people in here. You know what I'm saying? That can do this and do that. So we grew up in that culture. So it wasn't a shock for me when I first saw it. Now, how he went about it. And then also I want to play his response. Not right now, but his response to what he did at the Ricky Smiley show, which I think that's a whole other thing. But I do think it's a bad look. We always talk about on this show context and perception. You know what I'm saying? Just for the people that have an excuse not to believe in God, not to go to church, not to give any money or do anything of that such, this doubles down on that. To where now it's not, it validates how I always felt about it, right? You know what I'm saying? So, and like I said, we'll see the Ricky Smiley thing, but he brought this up on there. Marvin Sapp talking about he didn't, not a dime went in his pocket, right? To me, that didn't matter to me because I didn't care if none of it went to his pocket or not. It was just a matter of the people he was talking to and shepherding. In that particular moment, because this wasn't his church. But I do think it's a bad look. I think it's a bad imagery of church culture, and in a lot of ways, I don't even think it's biblical. You know what I'm saying? Given just because of the semantics of word, he said that he doesn't want to challenge it. Like I guess the guy came up before him and challenged them, right? And so I think we kind of mince words when we're talking about challenging. But it's really, it's really pressure. You know what I'm saying? How I look at it. Because I think sometimes, you can inspire people by, I remember Doc always used to, he never did anything like this, but he'll be like, look, I'm putting up 2,000 right here. I'm putting up 1,000 every night. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that you got to do it, but this is what I'm going to do because this is what I believe. And so to me, that inspired me. Be like, dang, maybe, okay, I can't give a G, but maybe I can give 100. Maybe I can give 50 without him verbally saying anything, but him just, you know what I'm saying, coming up there as an example, being like, look, this is what I believe for this conference, and so I'm giving 1,000 a day. It's a 5-day conference. I'm going to do that. So when people do things like that, I put necessarily a number on it, I kind of cringe just because I don't think that's the way. I got more to say, but let's wrap.
I mean, I don't. So in seeing, because I never saw that much of the clip.
Right.
It was only the part. Yeah, it was only to close the doors, and I need, some of the people. So from that, I 100% agree. From the knowledge of the clip that I saw, and seeing the whole thing, and I mean, it may be better ways. I guess, to go about doing it. Because we've been in some places where it was like, in order to get a particular blessing, you got to give, if you're not giving this amount of money, you can't get this blessing. I totally have an issue with that.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because now it's almost like you pimping the gift out. But one thing that I thought was key, and people will misunderstand what he said when he said it costs to be up here. Yeah. He wasn't talking about just a financial cost.
Yeah.
He was talking about you counting the cost of being in a position of leadership, of clergy, of authority. So now more is expected of you. Like we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. You're based upon your position, more is expected of you.
Yep.
So if I'm asking and we don't know how many people was in the crowd. So if it's
we knew at least 1,000.
Right. Well, no, I mean, but what I'm saying is, right.
And
And he said, and what he said is, all I need is for 1,000 people to give that. So it's probably more than 1,000 people at the place, and it's a conference, so you know it might be 3,000 to 5,000 people in the room.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And so, for the sake of motivating the people to give, if you say 1,000, because like you said, somebody might be like, well, I want to be one of those 1,000. You see what I'm saying? And who knows? Maybe all 3,000 gave that, or all 5, or however many of it is.
Yeah.
One thing I will say, and I'll just use this for example, like this costs money.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And it's times where you done spent on the front end, and I had to pay on the back end. It's time where you hit me up and be like, I don't ever get offended because I have to give money after you done already paid for something, or after it comes with the territory.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. Now, and the only thing I think we is like, hey, well, if you know you're gonna need it, like, you know, don't tell me on Monday and you need it on Tuesday. Like,
right.
Give me some time to get it. But it ain't never been a thing of, man, why you always saying I need? No, it ain't never been an issue with that, because I understand what we doing, and so it is some cost that goes with that. And so when you go to these conferences, and so a lot of these dudes, if they really about it, like this, they life. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them don't come. They not nepo babies. A lot of them. You know what I'm saying? They don't come from Fortune 500 companies or had a trust fund set up. Yeah. Like, this is what they do. And so now you want you don't want to go to the dentist and your dentist is like, man, you know what? I'm sorry. I was busting some tables at the restaurant last night, so I ain't really getting no sleep. But hopefully, I give you this Novocaine shot correctly. No, you want your dentist to be about the business of dentistry. If you get an operation, you want your doctor to be about doctor. You don't want a doctor that's got to, hey man, I got to go coach this. No, I need a doctor that's about doctoring. And so for these people, I feel like in order to be really effective at deciphering, to be able to break down and teach and instruct in the word, that's what you need to be doing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But with that being said, if I'm doing that, just like with any other occupation or job, I'm not saying I should be a billionaire, right, or even a multimillionaire, but in terms of I'm spending my life and my time in this, I should be compensated. And to your point, what he said on the Ricky Smiley show, it wasn't going to him. We don't know where the money is going, so I'm not going to assume, because that, to me, it's a cop-out when people say, oh, see, that's why I don't give. No, you don't give because you don't want to give. It ain't got nothing to do with what nobody doing, because if you know the scripture, it says that we give them here on earth, but he receives the worship of our action in heaven. He can't do nothing with no currency here. It's the act of us being willing to give it up that he receives. It's like a sweet smelling aroma to him. Mm-hmm. The fact that like this don't mean nothing to me. I'm willing to offer it because it's got to be used here. You know what I'm saying? So like, again, I don't have no problem with giving, with tithing, with offering. But to your point, I do have a problem when it's like, oh, JB, you can't get this blessing unless you give me 200. And you might be like, man, I ain't got nothing but 50. And we got precedents in scripture where the widow with the 2 mites, that's all she had. Mm-hmm. And the Messiah said, we going to talk about her forever because she gave more than everybody in here. You see what I'm saying? So to say you can't get a blessing unless you get it, where they do that at? Yeah, and that's all I'm saying.
And I was thinking about the word compulsion. I guess that's in 2 Corinthians 9, and they go through, talking about sowing a seed and just do it without, with a cheerful heart, with no compulsion. And so, when I think of things like that, like I said again, this is no knock against Marvin Sapp. I'm not here to call him. People call him a false prophet and all this. I'm not here to get into that because I don't. Other than him singing, when he in what other band he was in? Commission. That's right. He was in Commission. Mm-hmm. I wanted to say I would say Blackstreet, but nah. No. That was other buddy.
Teddy Riley.
No.
Dave Hollister.
Dave Hollister. That's what I'm thinking about. Dave Hollister. But I don't know him like that. But how it went about and did it, like that's not. I don't think it's cool. But giving conferences, like people have conferences at church, giving church culture. Like they'll have, let's say, like we had Fred Price come. Mm-hmm. We'll have, Dr. Freeman come. We'll have
Ivy
Hilliard or something like that, right? And so let's say the conference is overall to put on and stuff is like $50,000, right? And so I've been to conferences where they'll say up front, like, look, this is what, kind of the conference is. And so we believe in that, this will be paid and da-da-da this. And, it's a ways to go about it. But as soon as somebody come up there and say, shut the door,
right?
You know what I'm saying? And be like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Look, hey, y'all heard what I said the first day about how much this costs. You know what I'm saying? We ain't got da-da-da this. So I know everybody can give 20. Like, to me, that's going too far. And so that's where kind of compulsion kind of comes into play. But we mince words and we talking about, I'm going to challenge you. You know what I'm saying? And I think we just need to be careful with that.
No, yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I think we need to be careful with that.
I mean, I guess, again, in watching the context of the whole thing, again, I wouldn't tell anybody to close the door. But it's almost like, if you remember back when we was growing up and Doc would do the benediction, and he'd be like, nobody moving.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And so, and I don't know, it's natural sometimes. Some people be like, okay, well, we done. Let me go on and get up. But what happens is now if I see you leaving, and I may be one to really like, man, I need to get it together. I need to really give my life. But now if I see you go, and so now when he say everybody, so now you don't move, now I take away distractions.
Yep.
I'm not looking at the people going to the door. I can't hear the sound of the door opening and closing. I don't hear people saying excuse me, so they can get by and get out. Mm-hmm. Now I'm focused on, in that sense, the benediction.
Yep.
And I'm guessing, in the sense of, for the sake of people who really want to be a part of the giving.
Yeah.
If I know now that they close the doors up, okay, well, either I'm going to sit here till it's over with, or if I really have been debating, or it's like I'm fighting with myself about whether or not to do it, it's like, okay, well, let me go on and do what I got to do so we can go and get out of here. Mm-hmm. And to your point, I get the compulsion. I will say in the book of Acts, I believe it was the 5th chapter, where basically all the saints were selling all of their property, their goods, their land, and they were presenting what they had, the money that they got to the congregation.
Yeah.
And so like that's something, I guess, because he said in biblical times, like, well, everything New Testament is now. Like, we're still in that.
Right.
We're still in that era.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Everything prior to that, when he talked about the animals and the grain, that was what they were doing before money became the main form of currency. And so in Acts, at this point, the currency is, if I got a whole bunch of clothes or whatever and I'm bringing back the money that I made from selling these clothes. Like, people were selling land, and when Ananias and Sapphira, they fell out in front of the congregation, it wasn't because they didn't give enough. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't even about them being cheerful. It was because they lied about the amount. It's like, oh, this is all that we sold it for.
You know what I'm saying? They gave everything.
Right. It's like, because everybody is giving. I sold all these clothes. I made $100. I sold all these pots and stuff. I made $1,000. I sold 3 or 4 acres of land. I made $30,000. And they was like, oh, we done sold it for 30. You know what? Let's just give 10. We're going to keep the other 20. So, oh, we sold it. And then so you start off by saying, oh, we sold it for this much. It's like, that's all you sold it for? Yeah, that's it. You sure? Yeah, this is it. This is everything. And it's like, no, you ain't lying to me.
Lie.
You ain't lying to me. You lying to him.
Yeah.
Because they could have said, well, no, we kept back part of it. But it's like you presented it like, because everybody else is giving everything they had.
Yeah.
You're presenting it like it was everything you had. That is, off the top of my head, the only thing I can think about after the Messiah came, where you had an offering where everybody's presented in a corporate fashion like that. You know what I'm saying? And again, it wasn't a compulsion thing. It was like everybody knew what was going on. And it was like, you don't have to get the same amount as everybody else.
Yeah. People had a heart to give. Right. People it was just like I was saying, what Doc did. Like, it was inspiring. Like, I saw, Shay sold his house, and did this and came that, you know what I'm saying? It's like, man, oh snap, well let me sell my car. You know what I'm saying? Not because, you know, it'd be like, oh well, JB, I did this, so what's up? You know what I'm saying? It's just a matter, it's that heart of being like joy and just being like, man, I want to see, you know, these people doing well. But then when your time is low, you know what I'm saying, then it'll be like your time to get, you know what I mean? So it's just scratch each other's back when it's time, man. So again, I don't even know when to play this Ricky Smiley thing. It's 18 minutes, but I don't know exactly where he. Let me see if I can see where he was actually talking about it, and so you can kind of see his response to what he was saying. And one of the key things to me in here, it was like really no type of apology, right? Like sometimes just like look, man, like you know, players mess up too. You know what I mean? Things happen. This wasn't the thing, and it was just kind of. I felt a little funny about what it looked like. Let me see if I can kind of skip toward some of this stuff to see what he was saying.
International meeting where churches from all over the country, all over the world came together for the purpose of celebrating the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. People took issue with me saying shut the doors. Understand, I never said lock the doors. Yeah. I said shut the doors. Shutting doors mean that people still have the ability to go in and out. They've taken issue with my tone. And I can honestly say, you know, looking at the video, maybe I was a little more assertive than I should have been. And I can apologize for that. You know, I can apologize for that. But three things I need to make sure people understood. Number one, the $40,000, if it was $40,000 that was raised, was never given to me. That money was raised for the purpose of taking care of the budget for their conference, not Marvin Sapp. Number two, it didn't happen at my church. It happened in Baltimore. Number three, you know, people take issue with me being firm with the ushers. Anybody that goes to church, ushers one-on-one, that's the first thing they teach you as being an usher, is that there are 3 times you don't walk. You don't walk during the altar call. You don't walk during prayer. You don't walk during the offering. One of the reasons being is because of the sacredness of the moment. But it's also a...
Hold on, let me stop it right there just for a moment to ask you, Rag. Just to ask you anything that he said as of yet you have an issue with, or that's pretty much...
Oh no, I mean that was I mean, and even the last 3 things I know I wasn't a usher for very long at Breath because I'm too cordial with everybody, like but that part is right, you know what I'm saying, like during offering, during altar call, during prayer, and like I said, when Doc would be like, okay, nobody move and everybody head down, eyes closed, is because again it is a sacred time. And when the more people that are moving, the more distracting that it can be. But then also, I think too, like in today's times, you know what I'm saying? Like, when is somebody going, like you got people coming up in churches and doing crazy stuff. When are they more likely to do it? When everybody, when Dylan Roof came in there and shot them folks in that church in South Carolina, when did he shoot everybody? They got ready to pray in the circle. And so now if somebody was alert, everybody's in the sacredness of the moment, and that was when he, made his move. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So, again, he may not have been thinking about that. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that that's what he was thinking about, but I am just saying for him to point out that part of it, and that's why I don't have a problem with it. Only he knows what he was thinking in that moment, definitely. And it'd be wrong for me to say, "Oh, nigga, you knew what you was doing." Yeah. Like only him and the Lord know that. Yeah. But in terms of it being right, like that is something that they teach the ushers. We can ask our boy Eric. he did that. Yeah. And he come from, that's in the DNA. You know what I'm saying? Pops did it. He did it. Yeah. White glove and all that. You know what I'm saying? Right. But that part I don't have an issue with. You know what I'm saying? And I would have to see the whole. Because sometimes, like, when somebody apologizes, we expect them to say, "Oh, I'm sorry, my bad." In him saying, if you took issue with my tone, I can apologize for that.
Can apologize.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not the apology we want to hear.
What I'm saying? He said, I can apologize. He didn't say necessarily I do apologize. And for what you said, like I said, you can't judge the man's heart or even, when it comes to stuff like that. But then you kind of go into the jargon of what ushers historically do, right? We're not talking historically.
Right.
We're talking in 2024
at
this conference, which back in the day when we grew up, there were actually collection plates, people putting actual change in there, right? Nowadays, churches they still have envelopes, but a lot of stuff is electronic.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff is through an app. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So, but
that's why he said, if you remember, he said, if you're giving on your phone, he said, when you walk up, just, touch your phone to things. So, I mean, again, and like I said, I didn't see that part of it. I didn't know he was on there to, I guess, justify this. But my thing is like, you said 2024. Now, that could have been December 2024. Mm-hmm. That could have been July 2024.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so it's just, so to me, it's kind of like one of those things. Like, if I be like, man, JB, last year you stepped on my J's, and I ain't like that. And you didn't know you did it?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I could still be mad about it, but if you don't be like, oh, Shay, I'm so sorry. If you missed it in the moment, what I want you to do 6 months afterwards. Mm. And I done already cleaned the J's off, you know what I'm saying? I done went to Mo Kick's page and got the stuff, the Rejuvenator.
Crep,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, the Crep Protect.
Crep, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But now I want you to, be sorry. And I'm not saying that he shouldn't apologize, but I am saying, like, for context purposes, it's not like, because the way the video came out, it was like, this just happened.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
the way
why I
people was playing it was like, and that was why I'm like, oh, yeah, we got to definitely talk about this.
Yeah.
When you said 2024, I was like, oh, dang, we could have.
Yeah, it was 2024.
I mean, people talking about it, but I'm like, man, that's 2024. Like, this old.
Yeah, it was the same way. Like, I thought it was, like, recent. Like, within the last couple of months or whatever. And I did recently find out yesterday, or maybe the day before yesterday, that it was in 2024. I think, like, fall 2024 or something around there.
So that's that could be anywhere between September and November.
Mm-hmm. It could be anywhere between that time. So let's a couple maybe another minute or two of this, just to get a little bit more context
about security. As a pastor, we understand and we know that churches are being robbed at gunpoint. It's happening all over the country. This is not something I'm making up. This is factual. So if you got 5,000 people in a room, you want the doors closed. You don't want the doors locked. I couldn't get them locked anyway. It's a convention center. But the doors needed to be closed, and there was a lot of pandemonium and stuff that was going on out there. But I wanted to share that first. But that ain't even the reason why I'm here. Here's the reason why I'm here. The reason why I'm here is because what has happened is people have taken clickbait and made something out of it that it isn't. And because of that, my church has been getting phone calls. People have called my church and cussed me out. My staff are afraid because I've received death threats over $20 and shut the door. People have come to our campus. They have come to my church to try to cause problems, issues, challenges. And again, my children, I don't look at comments. We used to talk about this. I don't read comments. When you got millions of followers, you ain't got time to be reading all the comments. You just don't have it.
Right.
My children do. And they are afraid. And the reason being is because I'm their only parent. I'm a widower. They're afraid for my safety. So now we've had to update and increase security and all the things I've never had to do before because of the vitriol and the anger that people have shown, the things that they've said in my thread and stuff. And all of this is because of a misunderstanding. And I'm not blaming people. Let me be clear. I'm not blaming anybody because of their misunderstanding. I'm just saying all you're getting, get an understanding. And if I'm sharing with you that the $40,000 that I was trying to raise, and again, I don't know if the organization got 40, 10, 20, any of it. I don't know. I'm hoping that I actually raised more money so that I can help the organization that has been such a great support to me. These people,
and again, let's be clear, not a dime of that money.
Not a dime of that money came to me. Not a dime.
And where did your money come from?
I've been blessed. I've been extremely blessed. I've sold millions of records. Millions. I'm a songwriter.
How much have you gotten paid from? And we on the radio live.
Right.
How much have you gotten paid from your church?
That's enough.
I'm just saying.
Okay, so
Tell me what you said.
I'm gonna tell
see
you
what he's saying.
what people don't know is that I pastored 16 years in the city of Grand Rapids, Michigan. I founded my church. I pastored 16 years. We had a great church. Still have a great church there. 16 years of pastoring. I never got paid a dime. That's a fact. 16 years. You can call the church. You can ask them. I pastored the Lighthouse for Life Center Church in Grand Rapids, Michigan for free for 16 years. 9 years of those 16 years, I gave a minimum of $30,000 a month to my church. 30 grand a month to my church to ensure that the church could go forward. We had a lot of stuff. I had a college campus that we had bought. We had 3 other campuses. And my membership had dwindled after my wife had passed because I had to travel more in order to take care of me and my kids.
Right.
So, my membership, it dwindled, but we never lost anything. And as a matter of fact, this is factual. The day I announced the new pastor, I burned the mortgage of the church. When I left Grand Rapids, I left my church not only debt-free, but I left them with 6 figures in the bank and put a brand new pastor in and walked away and moved to Texas. I'm not walking around here trying to be a pimp. I'm not trying to take advantage of people. That's never been my passion. I'm serious about ministry. And let me go one step further. There's a whole lot of other pastors around here that are doing the same thing. Most pastors in America are bivocational, meaning they have jobs outside of their churches. The average church size in America is only 75 people. Look it up. It's factual. So we're not getting rich off the church. I am bivocational. I'm a W-2 employee at my church. I have a syndicated radio show that I do every week to over 60 different markets. I own real estate. I have mutual funds. I have annuities. I have stocks. I play the market. I took my money and I didn't trick it.
Money that you made from
money that I made from music, from hit records. I'm one of the only gospel artists with billions of streams.
And you tour.
And I tour. I just came off of a tour.
Sure.
That I made tons of money on. And I'm at the crib right now chilling because I don't have to go on tour. I can wait and do my next date.
Basically, you saying
Yeah, no, I wanted to hear that because again, I was interested in that part of it, and I think that's a thing that a lot of people miss out on because I mean, and you know this, you know what I'm saying, like because you preacher man, you know what I'm saying, like Pop, like from what I know, Pops wasn't rolling in the dough, you know what I'm saying. Y'all had the church and everything like that. You know what I'm saying? Like that wasn't why he was doing it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like my dad started back doing full-time ministry when I was in school, and basically because I was a clown, I was a fool. He stopped working a job so he could be up at the school every day because he knew I wasn't there.
Yeah.
But guess what? He was doing that for free. And I ain't gonna call no names out, but it was people who said, we believe in what you're doing, Elder Ragland, and we're gonna sow into you. And he's still waiting on that money.
Cool.
I'd have been out of high school 20 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he's still waiting on that money. He's still waiting on what people said. And they said, God told me to give you that. And never got it. And so we was big struggling. When I had the one pair of jeans in 9th grade.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So, like, this idea that all these preachers are that, and that's the only part I don't like about it. Now, for everyone that is a crooked preacher, pimp, player, whatever, you got about 10 more that's not.
Yeah. Like, and again, the whole thing, what I didn't, a lot of things he said in there was real, was true, and I vouched that But the only thing that I'm like, it's just kind of like, for an example, let's say somebody is a husband and a wife couple, and the husband knock his wife upside the head, you know what I'm saying, in an emotional moment, you know, and they get into it, but then they have a conversation, and now he talking about all the good things he done did, all the other things. Nigga, I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about what you just did.
Right, I got you.
You know what I'm saying? To me yesterday, when my head hit the wall.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And so I'm not negating anything, you know, Marvin Sapp said on Ricky Smiley, but I'm just like, bruh, I ain't never think you was a thief. I don't know you. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying how that situation looked in that particular conference, in that 4 or 5 minute moment. You know what I'm saying? And so now it just seems like the narrative is changing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? To where now
I'm the GOAT because I got a school.
You see what I'm saying?
And I didn't put all my homeboys on it.
Right. Like, but we're not.
Yeah, we ain't talking about that.
We ain't talking about that, right? We're not negating that. You know what I'm saying? Like Marvin said, I'm not saying that.
Right.
You gave a minimum $30,000 a month to your church. Mm-hmm. Great. I didn't ask you about that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're talking about this particular situation that looked funny, that looked very suspect, and so now instead of addressing that and talking about it, we talking about, you know what I'm saying, the goodness of your heart and how much, you know what I'm saying, money you gave and you left your church in six figures.
We ain't talking about the game.
You know what I'm saying? We're
talking about practice.
We're talking about
not
practice.
The game that I love.
You know what I mean?
We're talking about practice.
And so that was the only part that I thought was a little weird, because we're not, at least myself and others that I've seen in the comments on, they wasn't saying that he's a thief. They were just talking about, this is an example of other preachers being a thief. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And just being in the black church and da-da-da-da. And so now instead of doing that, be like, but nah, remember last year or 2 years ago when I had this going, like, I did good. Like, but dog, we ain't talking about what you did 10 years ago or even 5 years ago. We talking about specifically what you did in this 4 or 5 minute period. Like, address that, not address and try to change the narrative with it, which we're going to talk about a person that likes to change the narratives. You know what I'm saying? If you look at the thumbnail, you know what I'm saying? That's why it's called bully ball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
what we got next up on the list?
What we got next, man? I think next on the list. Now I'm interested in what you had to say about we could just go ahead and get into the other bully. And that is LeBron James.
Oh, okay. You got me curious because he's like,
yeah. LeBron James. He was, I don't think we talked about this. He was on the
Pat McAfee
Show. And for obvious reasons, we can get into all the stuff. Him and Stephen A. haven't been seeing eye to eye because he's kind of the new titan on the network. And I think they were going back and forth for a minute, him and Stephen A. And so I don't think it was a coincidence that Pat McAfee comes on right after First Take.
Right.
And so now he decides to come on that show during their little back and forth. And I ain't gonna lie, it was a pretty good interview. I listened to a majority of it. You know what I'm saying? He talked about a lot, not just Stephen A. He talked about his career, Bronny. Then he got into, you know, what this era would look like in the 70s.
Right.
And, you know, Giannis would score 250 points. Like, he was exaggerating. You know what I mean? I get it.
Right.
You know, so he didn't really, I don't think he even believes that that number is accurate. But he's saying that he thinks that era couldn't hold somebody like a Giannis. Right? And so it's a lot to go into that, because now when you look at today's game, now you can't fit that back in the 1970s or the 1980s because Giannis couldn't roam the lane like he doing now. He couldn't just get to point A and B as quick and as forward as you did. If you did go into the lane, you on your back. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't like when LeBron or anybody really says stuff like that, because you can't just pluck him out right here and put him in the 70s and thinking everything's going to be well, because you got to look at the rules back then. The rules were no mercy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You come in the lane. Okay, oh, yeah, come in the lane. Come on.
I can put hands on you.
You know what I'm saying? So they going to put hands on you. So, and we were just talking about Marvin, or at least I was talking about Marvin Sapp kind of switching the narrative to what we were talking about. And it's like LeBron's trying to switch the narrative, because if you listen to it, everything that he was saying, especially in that segment, we were talking about the different eras, is like he's bigging up his era to make him big him up even more than what previous eras. And we talking about Jordan, the 80s, 90s, you know what I'm saying, so on and so forth. So, yeah, I thought that was kind of whack, though.
Well, I mean, and so, you know, my whole thing is like, true enough, it'd be hard to compare eras because the game is so much different.
Yeah, it's super hard.
But like, now you take an old school 70-something Cadillac and you put that out now, it's over with for the rest of these vehicles. Don't bump into that caddy, because I can buff that out at the house. Your car gonna be fucked up.
Yeah.
Because them joints made of aluminum, fiberglass, and styrofoam.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That old school caddy is like straight iron and steel. Like, the engine is better. The quality of the parts is better. You see what I'm saying now?
Like even houses today.
Right, yeah. Granted. I mean, hey, you can GPS. My seat warms up. But as soon as I pay the car off, I might as well get another one. That's just facts.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You hit anything, you bump into your mailbox, you got to go to a body shop.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like them
different,
old
for
schools,
sure.
man, you could hit them big concrete poles at the gas station, and you have like a little bitty scratch. And I said that to say, like, a lot of these dudes, when the last time somebody played 82 games?
That's a good question.
Most
I don't
of
know.
these dudes consistently
Let me look it up.
in those eras played at least 70 games.
Yeah. Because I remember having a basketball course, and you remember on the back
Right.
of them, they got
You
the seasons,
GP, right? The season
then
games,
the season
right.
games played started and all that stuff. And most of
And
them,
if it didn't, it'll have an asterisk when they didn't play
Yep.
all the games and say injured. You know what I'm saying? Injured during the season. You know what I'm saying? Injured during the 82-83 season. Like, so to your point, yeah, you could see, man, dudes. Now, granted, nobody played 20 years.
right?
Okay? But, again, I would rather have somebody play 9 and you play all them, because when you look at your 20-year career or your 15-year career, you played basically the same amount of games as somebody who only played 9 and played all 82 games every year.
Right. And it'd be different. Like even now, back in the day, quarterbacks now is like the longevity. You can be 40 and be an NFL quarterback because of today's game and the way it's played. Like never, usually when you're 32, 33,
Right.
you're like winding down,
Winding
like Dan
down, yeah.
Marino. But like now, that's why quarterbacks are so valuable, because if you come in the league at 22, you could literally be like, I can have this dude for the next 15 years. You know what I'm saying? Because the way the game is played, the rules is less physical and all that stuff. So just like you said, comparing eras is super tough, especially in basketball, because everything is so different. You know, the athletes are, bigger, stronger, faster, taller, all that stuff, and play different positions. But, I think LeBron on one though. I think LeBron is really, I think he's making it hard for himself, bro. Like he's just, I think he kind of losing it, bro. To me, I just think he's kind of going off the edge. Now him and Stephen A. going back and forth, I think that's a whole nother situation. But I think Bron just kind of.
But see, this is why a lot of these numbers again don't mean nothing. So now, I'm finna tell you a player. This player has more points than Dwayne Wade, Elgin Baylor, Damian Lillard, Clyde Drexler, Larry Bird, David Robinson, George Gervin, So now I'll give you a hint. What era do you think this player played in?
I would say probably like 2000, 2015.
Nope. This player played in the 70s and 80s, and he has more points. He has more points than I left off Adrian Danley, Dwayne Wade, Elgin Baylor, Damian Lillard, Clyde Drexler, Larry Bird,
Gervin?
David Robertson, George Gervin, Mitch Richmond. He got more points than all of them. Robert Parrish got more points than Larry Bird.
Yeah.
His teammate in Boston got more points than Dame Dollar.
Yeah, he played a lot. Yep. He played about 20-some years?
Yeah, like 20.
Yeah.
And I mean, in the way it's looking, where is Dame at? Dame got 22,598.
Chief.
Now, like Dame probably, because Dame is still playing. Dame is probably gonna break it. Chris Paul ain't. Giannis probably gonna break it, because Giannis only at 20,000 points a game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 20,000 points, 20,384 points for his career. But like D Wade can't break it. Dantley can't. Elgin can't. Chris Paul, like I said, he ain't gonna be it because he's retiring at the end of the season, right?
Who Chris Paul is?
Yeah, that was one of the quickies I got.
Okay.
Chris Paul announced himself.
So,
okay. I mean, this idea that because you have the most numbers, and nobody would say that Robert Parrish was a dominant scorer.
Yeah. Now, he had his days.
No, I mean, but if you 18 to 20 for 10, 12 years, which he was, you see what I'm saying? Like, and again, going back to what you were saying, when we talking about the eras, like every team had a center and a power forward. It's like maybe 3 real centers in the league right now.
Mm-hmm. Real, yeah.
In the 70s and 80s, like, and again, I'm not one. I love the way the game was played in the 90s and the 2000s.
Yep, me too.
Okay, like I do not watch in the 90s and the 2000s. I do not want to go back to the 70s. But I got enough respect from seeing the film and seeing some of those guys and hearing some of the guys that I grew up loving talk about the reverence that they had for those guys. And now we got the benefit of seeing the film and everything. And people like, oh, look at how they running. Okay, yeah, but them dudes play 82 games.
Right.
You're so-called bigger, stronger, faster than who? Wilt could have made the Olympics in track and field. He chose to play basketball. Bill Russell chose to play basketball. Mm-hmm. He actually had a higher jumping record than the dude who won the gold medal in the '68 Olympics, I believe it was. Or it might have been before. It might have been before. But Bill Russell was competing in track and field versus one of the guys who went and won the gold medal. But in college, his numbers was better than the guy. He just didn't go to the Olympics because he got drafted into the NBA. Mm-hmm. So who you bigger, stronger, faster than? These so-called bigger, stronger, faster. Did you see the video? Pac-Man Jones just ran a 4.5 40.
I think that's okay. Yeah.
And he was telling them, I can still run a 4. Oh, you can't do it, Pac.
Oh, with
man,
killing them,
getting it.
Yeah, he's still in shape.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah, 40 years old, he can still run a 4.5.
Yeah.
Like T.O. ran like a 4.5 something. Mm-hmm. Bigger, stronger, faster than who? Like I said before, glass cannons. Now, what does a cannon do? Man, it shoots. It's destructive. But it's glass. If you drop it, it's over with. You throw something at it hard enough, it's over with. Man, you can hit hard. What's my boy name? Deontay Wilder. Glass cannon.
Yeah.
Man, he can hit hard, but if somebody hit him,
it's over with.
And so you talk about bigger, stronger. Man, all y'all bigger, stronger, faster. It's only one of y'all that played 20 years and was dominant. Now, don't get it twisted. It's been players back in the day. John Stockton played 19.
Yeah.
And only missed like 5 games his whole career.
And it may be
you know
a 30
Kevin Willis played 21 years.
Yeah.
Robert Parrish played 20 years. Kareem played 20 years. Who other than LeBron And don't get it twisted, Kareem was dominant, I would say, for 18 of the 20 that he played.
Yeah. Somewhere around there.
And probably still could have been, but you got to remember, like the last couple, he had Magic, he had James Worthy, he had Byron Scott, he had Michael Cooper. It was still averaging 18 points a game.
Yeah.
And you got to remember, the first like 5 years of his career, they wasn't even tracking his blocks.
Oh yeah, he would have led the league.
You see what I'm saying? Like
first 5 years or so. Yeah.
So I mean, this idea, LeBron's doing at a certain level, yes, but let's not act like Kevin Willis didn't play 21 years. Let's not act like Robert Parrish didn't play 20 years. Let's not act like Kareem didn't play 20 years. Let's not act like John Stockton didn't play 19. Let's not act like Karl Malone didn't play 19. Like, what are we talking about? But like it's been guys who did that, and again, that era, everybody had at least 4 7-footers on the roster. That was legit 7-footers, not a 7-footer trying to be a guard.
Yeah.
And like you said, no 3-point line, so now you got to play half court. Like you said, you can't roam the paint. You try to run in there with that sweet shit if you want to, you getting like knocked the fuck down.
You getting down, and the regular what's a flagrant foul today was a regular foul.
And sometimes it wasn't even a regular foul. It wasn't a foul.
Right. And so that's why I don't like comparing errors, especially like LeBron. Like I said, that's why I think LeBron is on one, because it's like he's working overtime to not only big up his era, but big up his whole entire legacy to, obviously try to be better than Jordan. You know what I mean?
How many travels would be called back then?
Oh, bro.
Because all these niggas nowadays are like everything that you're taught as a kid in Pee Wee, in AAU, in the high school, like it goes out the window. But they did that so that they could make the game, so they could make it more exciting and the scoring will go up.
Make more money. Yeah.
And that's why they stopped calling it. Yeah. But even referees, they got videos all over YouTube. Like, see, okay, no, that's a travel, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like sometimes these folks be taking 5 steps,
easy,
like a True Hill song.
Easy. So that's, yeah. So that was that with Brian. Let's go to this next one here. Malik Yoba. Malik Yoba starting a non-white movement. Talk to me, Rag.
Essentially, what he said is, and if you remember a few years ago, he was trying to be the trans savior or whatever a few years ago, and that didn't really take off the way he wanted it to. So now he's like, oh, you're not black anymore. You're not Hispanic. You're not Asian. You're not Indian. You're just a non-white person. And let them figure it out. And I just think Malik Yoba needs to stick to acting. Like, we love you on New York Undercover. We loved you in Cool Runnings. Hell, for the season and a half he was on Empire, I loved him in that.
Right.
The first one.
Was on
you know what I'm saying? Like, he was like the little fixer.
Yeah.
For Lucius over there. Like,
I forgot about that.
I mean, again,
he was. Yeah.
I liked him in the Tyler Perry movie. I mean, the second one they could have kept, like, he was whack as hell in the second one, but the first, like, I do not like his politics. I do not like sometimes you just got to remember why people love you. You just got to keep doing that.
Yeah. Let's read something here. It says here, actor Malik Yoba is now referring to himself as non-white. Could this be a loophole to the ongoing DEI rollbacks? The Trump administration's efforts to purge diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives have sparked a wave of responses ranging from corporations quietly complying to brands like Costco reaffirming their commitment to DEI. But amidst these shifting tides, opinions are divided on the most effective way to respond. Malik Yoba suggested a bold and unexpected way for communities to respond to the government's attempt to dismantle DEI by identifying as non-white. This is a quote, he said, y'all. He said, I decided that I'm no longer a black man, no longer a person of color. Biopic. None of that. Shh. What I am is a non-white man. And I think we should all just start calling ourselves non-white. So they're going to have to figure it out and just say that, explicitly. Said no DI, no bio, my bad, biop, I think it says, no references to our blackness. So we just all walk around. I'm not a black man. I'm a non-white man. Call it what it is. I'm just non-white. Let them rebuke that. Let them refute that.
Yeah, I don't think anybody was ever arguing that. Yeah. That's a moot point. Like, nobody was like, oh, yeah, guess what, JB? We're not white. Like, I don't think, like, every time I look in the mirror when I get out the shower, I realize that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When I get pulled over, I certainly remember that.
Yeah.
That's why I have a level of humility when I get pulled over.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We can say we don't tap dance, nigga. I am Gregory Hines when I get my black ass pulled up.
Straight
nigga, I'm
up.
Savion Glover. I'm Sandman Sims.
Right.
How you doing, boss?
Man, what?
Would you like to see my driver's license, boss? Nigga, I'm trying to live. In that moment, nigga, I'm trying to live. Like, y'all can keep the dumb shit.
10 to 2.
I have no ego at that moment.
At all.
I talk big shit sitting in this seat, nigga. When I get pulled over, it's over with. Nigga, they seeing all, and I got my wisdom teeth pulled, so they seeing all 28. I'm like, no veneers, nigga, straight smile, no braces. Like, I don't understand why, like, he just, I feel like sometimes it's the need to be relevant.
Yeah.
I mean, because he's a good actor, and he should be in more stuff.
He is. It just sounds like a reach. It sounds like ever since, he started kind of cross-dressing and doing some of that stuff, it just seemed like he just kind of really been a little off the edge a little bit, right? So this is just going way too deep, calling yourself non-white. Like, you the blackest of the black dudes. You ain't even light-skinned. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Like, do you remember Cool Runnings?
Yeah.
When all them niggas was standing up next to each other, like, you couldn't tell who, like, him, Leon, Dougie Duck, like, all them niggas black.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
And with the next one here, now I did see this. I didn't really get, like, Prime versus Asante Samuel.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I got from it. They were arguing or disputing about technique, or right, I think it was a technique, I guess, how they played the game.
Right.
And Asante was basically like saying that he was better than Prime, or like on his level.
Yeah, he's on the same level.
On his level or whatever like that. And so I don't even think Prime really acknowledged it. I think he went back and forth with him a little bit, and then Shay Shay went off on their podcast, you know what I'm saying, talking about that. Like,
right.
Asante Samuel was a real good player. I remember him from New England for the most part.
Right.
I don't know who else he played for. I remember
Eagles.
He did play for the Eagles for a minute. And but to compare him to Prime, like, not even close, right? And so him he's a great athlete. Asante was a great athlete, but him going back and forth for Prime, just like out of your weight class. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
And so, and I think if you know covers in football as far as DBs goes, you may, like Deion he can play cover, he can play zone, he can play man-to-man. Now, from my vantage point, I think Asante, he was more like a cover 2 guy. You know what I'm saying? He really wasn't a man-to-man, kind of shut down the whole field type dude. So I don't even know what this whole argument about. It just sounded like Asante wanted, some to get into the light or something like that. Because I don't even know what's the argument about.
Essentially, like you said, it started off about technique, but he was saying that he was on the same radar. And now, again, I'll just put it like this. Would you put him over Rod Woodson?
Asante?
Yeah.
No.
Of course not Prime. Prime is in his own stratosphere.
Right.
I'll even say Darrelle Revis he's in that Prime level. Ronnie Lott, I think, is in that level. Okay. Charles Woodson.
Mm-hmm.
Mel Blount was before our time, but that's one that a lot of older
I
heads
heard
say.
about him. Yeah.
Champ Bailey.
For me, no.
Okay.
No.
Brian Dawkins.
He was more like a safety or something, though, wasn't he? But he maybe played a little DB, though.
Oh, yeah. No, he might have been. Okay. Aeneas Williams.
Aeneas Williams?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. He was one from 1991.
Yeah.
2000.
I would put them
55 interceptions.
I think that would be comparable. But if I had to choose, I'd pick Aeneas, though.
Yeah. Darryl Green.
Nah, you can't. Darryl Green was a bad boy. More like
and
a returner.
and Darryl Green played 20 years.
Yeah, Darryl Green was cold.
Darryl Green actually played, and they talk about they wasn't on the same team, but it was a game where him and his son was both playing versus each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because, like, again, the man's career was from 1983 to 2002.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? He actually got to play on the field with his son. I mean, again, like Ty Law, who was his teammate.
How long? Yeah.
He wasn't better than Ty Law.
I don't think so.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
let's just keep it a book. Personally, I don't think he was better than Stephon Gilmore.
Yep, I agree.
Because that's a defensive player of the year.
Yeah, I say he won the
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like that's
he
you know. So now don't get it twisted. Now Asante had a phenomenal career.
Yeah, he got a Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
He got
I want to
Super
say he
Bowl.
got a couple of them
He got
with the
Super
Patriots.
Bowl. Yeah, I always looked at him like,
I want to say he got at least 2 with New England.
yeah,
Because Brady won 6
Yeah,
in New England.
then he won that 7.
Yeah, the 7 with Tampa Bay,
Bay.
but he won 6 in New England. I know Asante got 2 of them.
Right.
Because what they were saying is that Dion and Asante got the same number of Super Bowls.
2.
So yeah, Dion got 1 in Dallas, and then he got 1 in San Francisco.
Right.
Asante got 2 in New England.
Yeah, but that's where the comparisons got to stop, though. Like I don't even get, like, I always thought he was very good, but all the people that you named, I would put him, you know, even my boy from the Cowboys that should be in the Hall of Fame, Darren Woodson.
Yeah, see, now I ain't even mentioned him.
He should be in the Hall, quite honestly, but they hating on him for whatever reason right now. But yeah, Santi's not even, I don't even think he's probably going to be in the Hall of Fame. I don't think.
Okay, so now the all-decade team for cornerbacks of the 2000s, which that would be which Asante and his 4.
That'd be his era.
And I forgot about him. Champ Bailey.
Yep, we said.
Did you say he better than Champ?
Nah, he ain't better than
Rondé Barber. Charles Woodson. And Ty Law. And that's the all-decade team for the 2000s in terms of corners. So those are the 4 corners.
Yeah.
Champ, Rondé, Charles Woodson, and Ty Law.
And so, and it's like everybody got their role. Just kind of like Asante was a superb elite number 2 corner, right? I don't think he was ever like the guy. Maybe with the Eagles some, you know what I'm saying? But he was never, to me, elite. You know what I'm saying? I thought he was like a very good corner. You know what I mean? But never like elite. So, you know, but I get everybody got an ego. So, you know, you got to, you know, but it's like with Prime, though, like, yeah, you might want to just calm that down a little bit because not only the tape don't lie, the numbers don't lie.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, if you want to go Super Bowl, I get it. But the context of the Super Bowls make a difference. Prime so cold. Prime he was with the 49ers, won a Super Bowl with that, contained my boy playmaker, went to the team that lost in the conference championship, went to us, the Cowboys, and then made us champions. And was guarding Jerry Rice on the other end in the conversation. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you can say he only got 2, but how he got the 2 was simply like amazing. He shifted the tides of 2 teams. You know what I mean? The reason why both of them pretty much won it was because of Prime and what he brought to the table.
Right.
You know what I mean? So for Asante to even, like, certain people just like, this is like talking to Jordan in basketball. You know what I mean? Just like saying, this is like saying Vince Carter saying that, hey, look at me and my talent. Like, I was better than Jordan. It's like, talent-wise, you might be up there, right? But but when we watch the tape and we see how the careers panned out and everything else, it's like, bro, it's not even fair. It's not even a conversation. And so that's what it looks like with Prime and Asante to me.
I mean, yeah, and again, and this goes back to just like, again, like we talk about the numbers being deceptive because you can have more interceptions, but Shannon made a good point where he was like, when you look at, you got this many interceptions, but when you look at how many times you got scored on, or how the receivers that you were guarding. So, like, you look at a guy like Revis, he don't have your interception numbers, but, like, they called it Revis Island for a reason.
Oh, yeah. There was a reason why.
Because, like, the only person, and they came up with the term, the only person to really get Revis was Moss. Yeah, that's where that term came up. You got Moss. Like, that's the only person, and that's somebody who is top 3 all time in his position.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's arguable. I would say that Revis might be top 5, but it's arguable he's not top 3. Randy is debatable top 2.
Hold on, who's not top 3? Top 3 corner?
Yeah.
Or top?
No, I was saying it's arguable with Revis.
Okay, I got
I say he's definitely top 5.
Yeah.
But you have some people that might have him outside of the top 3. Yeah. But it ain't no debate.
Definitely
receiver who the top 3 is. It ain't no debate. You can debate what they say. Argue with your mama. Everybody, like, it's definitely Jerry, Randy, and T.O. However you want to. And then number 1 is ain't no argument. It's really only an argument in who you got 2 and who you got 3. And they made a good point. They was like, man, Jerry was at 40 years old. He had a 1,200-yard season. Like, it is what it is. But
yeah, it's crazy.
The numbers, he does have more pick sixes, right? He does have more interceptions, but the deal is they were pointing out how many times he got scored on. You didn't shut the whole side of the field down. You were more of a system or zone corner and not a man corner. When you talk about a Champ, you talk about a Prime, you talk about a Revis, like they man was out the game.
Yeah.
Or if I'm trying to force it to you, like you're taking everybody else out the game, trying to force it to this one guy because you know what I'm saying? And you can look at Jerry, like, and again, as great as Jerry was, his probably most difficult games was when he played.
Yeah, definitely.
And for the most part, when Prime was in Atlanta for them 7 years, they played Atlanta every year. That you already knew. Circle that up. He ain't having no 10 reception game versus Atlanta.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like when Prime was in Dallas, you ain't having no 10 reception game in Dallas.
Not against Prime.
You know what I'm saying? And so like that part, I mean, again, Asante was great. If he ever does get into the Hall of Fame, I hate to say it, but he probably gonna have a long wait. You know what I'm saying? I think he'll be a legacy guy because again, you look at the number of All Pros.
I had to look at his. I had to look at his resume, and so like you said, maybe 10 years down the road he may get in there, but I don't know if I see that.
I think Ocho got a better chance of getting in the Hall of Fame before Asante do.
I agree. Because
T.J. Houshmandzadeh made a good point that he was on there. He was like, he said Ocho had a period. He said, he said for
top 3.
In fact, he said, can you say at your position did you have 5 years where you were a top 5 player at your position? He said, Ocho, you had 8 years where you were a top 5 player at your position. And then he said 5 of them, you led the entire AFC.
Yeah.
It's like, so how are you not? And of the 4 receivers that made the All-Decade team in 2000, he was the first person that was the runner-up. And it was Randy Moss, Owens, Torrey Holt, and Marvin Harrison. And if one of them, number 5 would have been Chad Ochocinco.
Yeah.
Because they only picked 4. So in the 2000s decade, he would have been number 5, and he's only behind, and everybody who he's behind is a Hall of Famer. Well, no, and Torrey Holt is a 6-time finalist.
Yeah. Now Chad was a bad boy.
Right, and then you got to think about it.
Boy.
Every single one of them other guys that's on that list played with a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Yeah.
As much as I love USC and Carson Palmer, he's not a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Nah.
He was very injury prone when he was in Cincinnati.
He was good, but yeah.
I mean, yeah, but he only made one Pro Bowl in that. Like, he had a better career in Arizona than he did. Like, I want to say he played like 2 or 3 years in Arizona. His career in Arizona was better than his career in Cincinnati.
And
he played like 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
In Cincinnati.
Because he went to a Super Bowl in Arizona. Right. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but when you look at Torrey Holt had Kurt Warner. Marvin Harrison had Peyton Manning. Randy Moss had Tom Brady. T.O. had Steve Young. He had Donovan McNabb.
Yep. Now, before we wind down here, tell me about this Ye and Jay and Beyonce stuff, because I've been hearing
he said their kids are retarded.
Who said the kids are retarded?
Kanye.
He said his kids
No, he said that Jay-Z's and Beyonce, their twins are retarded.
Yikes.
So now, anytime, like, it's to the point they want to sue him. Now, I will say that if, just like with the Bronny thing, when your kids are adults, I'm talking about another adult. As a parent, you're going to feel some type of way because that's still your child. Just like you would feel a type of way about your parents or your siblings. But now that's a grown adult. But the kids that you're talking about don't even have driver's license.
Yeah.
And I mean, and then you're not even talking about their mental capacity, but then he's talking about, look at them, look at how they look. They're retarded. And he said, I don't care what they got to say about it. Fuck them. Like,
I'm seeing it now, really.
Yeah. Nobody is that talented to me.
Yeah.
College Dropout was a long ass time ago.
Yeah.
And I'm so far removed from those songs.
Yeah.
You know, don't get me wrong. It was a moment in time. It was a bop. You know what I'm saying? But like, I'm not.
He got that one.
I mean, don't get me wrong. And some of those songs, one of my favorites, throw up your motherfucking hands, get them high. Like with him and Talib and Common. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Like that's oof.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite songs. Like that joint slaps.
Yeah. He got
right? Like I and as critical as I am of Kanye, I am very objective. If you talk about production, producers, beat makers, hit makers, he's easily top 5.
Yeah.
Now you can go, depending on what you like, you say
3.
Timberland, Dre, Jermaine Dupri, but you looking at the people that you're not like, those are real live heavyweights. Mm-hmm. And I would just say hip hop because I think Quincy Jones is like that's another stratosphere. Yeah, but you're talking about hip hop, you got Dre, you got Timberland, and you could easily say Kanye is the number 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I think Jermaine got more versatility, I think, in terms of the R&B songs, and you know what I'm saying? Like he had a lot of R&B acts, that he produced for and everything. Mariah Carey and was it SWV or Total? One of them, like one of those girl group, like he had all of the what's the group that T.I. wife was with?
Escape.
Like he had them, you know what I'm saying? The Brat, like when you think about Black Sheep, like, oh dang, Jermaine was freaking everywhere.
Now the thing with Jermaine Dupri is, I do think he was more versatile as far as songwriting and crisscross, like
right. The genres and the different
run.
Types of
crazy run.
Right.
Now the only difference is I think what made Kanye so cold is usually when I hear a Jermaine Dupri beat, I know it's him. It sounds he has his signature, I think, for the most part.
You think so?
I do. I do.
I think Kanye is more noticeable to me.
Yeah, but like some of the stuff, like Kanye made a lot of stuff for what's the girl name? The singer. Dang, what's her name? She's with Tupac back in the day. Keisha Cole.
Oh, Keisha Cole.
Keisha Cole. He did a lot of stuff with Keisha Cole, and this listener, I was like, golly, like Carrie Hilson, Brandy.
I mean, but see, he's sample heavy though.
He is sample heavy.
So that's why I kind of know Kanye, because what he does with a sample, I say probably the only person who comes close to me is like, and DJ Premier sampled differently, because his is more like with the scratching and stuff like that. I would say like No ID is one that's kind of similar, but what Kanye does with sampling is just, and so like, but when I hear like the samples, it's like, okay, oh, that's probably a Kanye beat. You know what I'm saying? And that, so for me, like that's why I know that. But to your point, like Jermaine does have certain, like our producers have certain ticks.
Yeah. Cause it seems like an orchestra to me, kind of with Kanye, cause he puts on like a whole production. Cause some of his songs maybe 6, 7, 8 minutes long. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so, like I said, both of them cold. So it's like tomato, depending on what you like. But
he's easily. If you had a Mount Rushmore of hip hop producers, his face got to be on it.
Yeah. Definitely.
And what
Dre got to be up there for sure.
Tyrese saying, "But that's modesty for your ass." Like I don't, and I can say I don't like Kanye. It does not change the fact that he is one of the top 3 greatest hip hop producers ever.
Yeah.
It does not take away that he has had some of the most memorable moments, and I don't mean his personal life. I mean musically. My Dark Twisted Fantasy. Like, come on, man. Like, dude, musically, I think the run that he had from College Dropout to My Dark Twisted Fantasy was like, you had every, you know what I'm saying? Like, was that 5 though, wasn't it?
Because you talking about
College Dropout, Late Registration, Graduation.
Hold up.
It was something before My Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Yeah.
Whatever was before that, and then My Dark Twisted Fantasy was like the 5th one.
808s and Heartbreak.
808s and Heartbreak.
808s and Heartbreak.
That's like that. So like he had like a 5 album was just like every time.
Yeah, it was killing.
So like, and you could argue that it was classics.
Yeah, no, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? Definitely, College Dropout.
Late Registration.
Definitely, Late Registration. Definitely 808s and Heartbreak.
Yeah.
And definitely Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Yeah, for sure.
Graduation, you know, you got people that's but again, but still it wasn't a fall off.
But yeah, it was.
You know what I'm saying? It was kind of like more of the same, but
because that was the joint he had all of the lights on with is that no that was Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Yeah.
All the other lights, yeah, that was Dark Twisted Fantasy.
But I'm saying, like, so again, I don't have to I ain't gotta kiss nobody's ass to say that you're great. But it's one thing, like if your kid's setting cats on fire and throwing rocks at people's house, I can say, man, JB, your kid's bad as hell, bro. You need to tighten up.
Right.
That's one thing.
Yeah.
But to say somebody's child has a mental disability, because you can't even say, like now they try to cancel you for saying retarded.
Yeah. Like
the word doesn't exist. It's still a thing, and we try to make it something different. Oh, they're autistic. Okay, well, no, that's something totally different. Being retarded and being autistic are 2 different things.
Yeah.
Being developmentally delayed and being retarded are 2 different things. Yep. It's a such thing as mental retardation. That just means that you are mentally slow. That's all that means. Just like a flame retardant. What is a flame retardant? It's something that slows down a fire. Let's normalize what stuff means. The problem is that people have taken stuff out of context and we use it as an insult to talk about people. And that's what he's using it as. You can't. And again, these kids don't even have driver's license.
Yeah. And that was one of the things what I just brought up was talking about Marvin Sapp, just because you're not negating his greatness and all the things that he did, but we ain't talking about that. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about something very specific in what he's doing and what he's saying about Jay-Z and Beyonce's kids, right? And so I'm with you. Like I said, and I've taken up for Kanye many times on this show, strictly because of his talent and some of the things I think he was doing at the time. I think we went in a couple of times when he was talking about the anti-Semitic stuff and when we had Velly here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But
and when he's been picked on unfairly, I've said that.
yeah.
But I cannot. I mean, hell, even the devil walked around in heaven. That's scripture.
Yeah.
So he good then because it said when the angels came up and they walked in and said and Satan was right with him.
Yeah.
Like he's supposed to be in that joint.
Yeah.
So he good then because he was in heaven with the rest of the angels. Oh, Kanye had a church. So what that mean? Like we don't know some heathens that be up in church.
Nothing.
And that's all. But niggas gonna forgive him. Because while he got on his black Ku Klux Klan outfit that he had on when he was talking to DJ Academics.
I saw that. Yep.
I mean, and I'm just saying, like that's like me walking around and I done made a chain out of a dildo, and people looking at me crazy, and I'm like, oh, this means something totally different. No, nigga, a dildo's still a dildo. You have on a fucking Klan hood. That's still what it is.
Yep.
As to quote the great Wesley Snipes in White Men Can't Jump, you can stick a cat in the oven, that don't make it a biscuit. And he is trying to make a cat in the oven a biscuit.
Yeah.
I just can't rock with him talking about nobody's child. And the way he acted when he said, like, oh, you're doing this stuff in front of my child. Like, protect the children. But then you go and do this. Like, they not going to see it. But they're old enough to see that, though.
Right.
They're old enough for people, their classmates or people they know, to ask them about that. And you ain't thinking about how that's going to affect their child. I ain't got to like you, JB. I ain't going to say nothing about your kids, though. They ain't got nothing to do. If we're beefing, they ain't got nothing to do with that.
Yep, got to keep the kids out of it. Now let's get with these quickies, man. We gotta get out of here. One with the Memphis Grizzlies here. Taylor Jenkins recently got fired, actually a couple of days ago, from the Memphis Grizzlies, and I, for one, am not surprised that he got fired. I am surprised that they actually waited to almost playoff time to kind of do it. But it was inevitable, so I ain't tripping on that. What you think about Rack?
That's why Memphis ain't never gonna win nothing. I mean, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. I mean, like in order to, he is the winningest coach in the history of the Grizzlies.
Yeah, he is.
So, and I mean, I'm just saying. So, like, what the fuck? Like, who are we gonna get better? First of all, a lot of people don't want to come here anyway. So, like, you get somebody that creates a culture here. He don't totally get away from the grit and grind, but he kind of created a more little up-tempo. I really believe it was a mistake, and I said this back then. I believe it was a mistake for them letting go of Dylan Brooks because they helped with a certain defensive identity. Yeah. That, like, they could have found a better way to reel him in, kind of the way Ime Udoka did. But that helped with a certain, who was it, John Wall said people used to fear Memphis. Like, nobody's scared of Memphis.
Yeah. I don't think Taylor was the guy. I think it was about time for him to go. He did a lot of great things here, but I think they needed a new voice in the locker room. Now, what you're saying about Dylan Brooks, I do think hindsight looking at and what he's brought to the table for Houston, we definitely could still use some of that grit here in Memphis with Dylan. But also, Bane and Aldama got into a confrontation on the sidelines. Bane pushed Aldama. It just adds to the stuff that's going. I think we lost tonight to Golden State again. This is like 3 in a row we done lost at home. So hopefully the Grizzlies going to the playoffs look better than what we're looking, man. It just ain't looking good right now. This next quickie, you said Chris Paul announces retirement at the end of the season.
Yep. He said
I didn't see that.
Of the season he will be retiring. So if this is actually valid, man, hats off to Chris Paul. He was not only a great man, probably the last of a dying breed in terms of old school point guard,
definitely
pass first distributor, every team he went on, he boosted their winning percentage by a significant margin. And then when he left, the team went down by a significant margin. And so he was a consummate professional, never had any scandals, represented the league well. He was, I believe, the president of the Players Organization.
Yep. Players Association.
Yeah, Players Association. Yeah. So, man, he's a consummate professional. Great commercials. You know, the State Farm Johnson with him and Cliff Paul.
Yeah.
Man, and so I hope that wherever his career takes him next, that he and his family keep going forward and doing great. But the game is certainly going to miss what he brought, and hopefully, you know, the young teammates that he has on the Spurs, that they learn everything they can from him, because that's a wealth of knowledge and information.
Yeah, and I do think at some point he gonna end up coaching.
Oh yeah.
Because he seemed like a ballaholic, and he just can't.
I would love to see him like as a commissioner. I doubt it, but
yeah, it just seems he's not going to get away from the game. He's such a gym rat and stuff like that. So I could definitely see him being in some type of capacity, whether coaching or something like that. Next here, quickie, March Madness. We ain't really talked about too much about March Madness. Since Memphis went out that first weekend, it kind of put me down, so I started kind of back watching the games this last week. So the Final Four is set. It's all number ones. And if we do remember, the last time we had all number ones was when our Tigers, 2008, with Kansas, North Carolina,
UCLA,
us, and
wasn't it UCLA?
Nah, we beat them in the Elite Eight. Maybe it was Michigan State or something like that in the Final Four. 'Cause I think we beat Michigan State, or maybe it was UCLA. Maybe it was UCLA in the Final Four. But
it was North Carolina, UCLA, Memphis, and was it Kansas?
Kansas, yeah. Yeah, because they won. They beat us in the final.
Yeah, Kansas, Memphis, UCLA, and North Carolina.
Okay.
And so it was, so we beat UCLA.
Yep. Okay. That was
Final Four.
Kansas beat North Carolina.
Kansas beat North Carolina, and then we end up losing to Kansas in the game.
Unfortunately. So that's the last time all four number ones was in the Final Four. So now we got a good one. It's going to be real good. We got Auburn, we got Houston, we got Duke, and we got Florida. And so both of those games should be dope. Kelvin Sampson is like superb coach, man. The stuff that he does with the kids he have, not really having a superstar. You know, Master P's son is on that team. He don't really get too much run. Houston.
Yeah.
Mercy Miller.
Mercy Miller.
He don't really get too much run, but they're so stacked and so old. He only a freshman, so I'm pretty sure he'll get some run really next year if he don't get in the transfer portal. But this should be a good Final Four, man. So I just want something good. Duke is looking great. I can't front. Cooper Flag looking cold. The other freshman they got, Knipple. You know, you know what I'm saying? The white shooting guard, he's cold. So if I had some money on it, I would say Duke gonna win the joint. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
Cooper Flag is doing this thing. And then with the women, was it UCLA, South Carolina, Texas, and UConn? So it's 3 number ones and a number 2.
Yeah, and so shout out to Dawn Staley that made her 5th straight Final Four. Which is crazy. Like, that's like some Pat Summitt stuff.
Gino. With Gino, I don't want to mess his last name up, but with
UConn or something like that.
Yeah, man, but he is.
Yeah, so she's, you know what I mean? So that's dead on that. And also, I think you brought up, too, with a quickie about the transfer portal and the NIL stuff. Because the NIL stuff is, I think, long story short, is out of control. Some has to, they have to do something about it, man, because it's like, it's Wild Wild West out there.
But they fucked up because they made it an issue. And this is how bad it was. And this ain't nothing new. Like, if you remember when UNLV, the Running Rebels, right? Larry Johnson, Greg Anthony, Stacey Altman, those guys. Like, they tried to hit Greg Anthony with Greg Anthony had a T-shirt business. Keep in mind, why do you go to college? To learn how to, what you're going to do as a professional, because everybody's not going to play that sport.
Yeah.
So he found a way to where I don't need to get money from boosters. I don't need to. I can enterprise, but you're an amateur. That don't have nothing to do with, like we talked about. This is something totally different.
Yeah.
I am not getting out. Granted, my celebrity may help me sell some more shirts, but it ain't like somebody buying this shirt to, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
okay, well, stay at this school. It ain't like a booster giving you a shoebox full of money,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like, they didn't want to, they're making an NCAA college game, and they're putting these guys' faces on it. Ed O'Bannon played for UCLA when they won the championship in 95, and successfully sued, but y'all don't want to get those players compensation, and y'all making multi-million dollars off of these games, and you got these players in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, imagine they make a NCAA tennis game, and they got you for TSU.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And they don't have your name. They just got Jay Brown. And it's like, wait a minute. It's all your stats,
Right.
but you ain't seeing a dime off of it. Right? But you don't want to get no. And y'all are making billions. And you get mad because somebody bought him a cheeseburger.
Yeah.
So to your point, it got out of control because you got that, because that's what capitalism is. It's, I'm going to get as much as I can, which ain't nothing wrong with that, but it comes at the expense of you. I'm going to make as much as I can, but I'm going to screw you in the process.
Yeah.
And so now it got to the point, like you said, okay, well, we're going to open it up. But now it's got out of control. And I said this before on a couple of, well, it's been a while ago, but I don't have a problem with NIL. But with the transfer portal, I don't think, number one, I don't think if you transfer more than once, you should have to sit out at least a year.
Yeah. It's too much of a
You know what I'm saying,
free-for-all.
right? And then two, if you receive NIL money from the school where you're at, you have to stay at that school for at least
2
a certain
years.
amount of time, right?
I
At
think-
least 2 years.
I think 2 years.
So that's going to discourage, because now it's kind of gotten out of hand where, like, some guys that want to play professional, you lose continuity.
Yeah.
You don't work on, instead of you working on your game and getting better.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just gonna go to another school. You know, and they're gonna promise me this stuff, as opposed to me going back in the gym. You know what? That's all right. You got it this year, but next year I'm taking it. Oh, you know what? We both, you play point guard, I play two guard, but next year it ain't just gonna be you starting. I'm gonna be right there with you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You done motivated me this first year, so now I'm finna get back in the lab and work on my game, so both of us can be starting next year. It ain't no more of that.
It's messing up the whole thing. Like even with Memphis here, even with Penny, and you know, I just think that what made Memphis stay so good, especially with us growing up, like we knew the players from the turnover from when they were the freshmen and when they came to senior. I remember Anthony Douglas when he was a McDonald's All-American.
Yeah.
He went all the way
From
up
East.
to he was a junior from East. Billy Smith,
Yeah.
all these cats. But it's so much turnover year in and year out. Like the fan base can't even get a chance to know these cats.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it hurts.
And like you said, man, we looking forward,
It
man.
hurts.
You see, man, I saw Cedric Henderson all 4 years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I saw Deuce Ford, you know, from Fairleigh.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Then going way back, like, man, Tony Matlock. You know what I'm saying? Ernest Smith, Chris Garner. You know what I'm saying? Mingo was a transfer, but I saw Mingo 2 years. Rodney Newsom.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like we saw these guys. We got to watch. Okay, now Penny didn't play. Penny only played the 2 years because the freshman year he had to sit out. But, like, we saw him. Elliot Perry played 4 years. You know what I'm saying? And this is what we grew up watching. We got to see Lorenzo writing this too. David Vaughn.
Yeah.
You know, we got to see that progression. And, like, now, man, you don't know.
You don't know.
Even if somebody's a 2 year player, like, you don't know because they gonna play 1 year, then transfer somewhere else.
Right.
You know, but yeah, man, they need to fix that. I noticed what we had this as a topic, but I'm gonna throw this in as a quickie. As you know, my girl, she off the market again. You know what I'm saying? The girl, my girl who can't do no wrong, who sits on the throne.
Yeah.
Her and Jonathan Majors got married, so congratulations to them.
Yep. Salute to her.
I hope that it looks like he is, and I said this, cream rise to the top. You know what I'm saying? Like, hopefully his movie Magazine Dreams is out. It's gotten rave reviews. I don't believe, I believe he got railroaded, and I hope that that's behind him, that he's learned from the error of his ways.
Yeah.
And I mean, if Robert Downey Jr. can wake up in his next door neighbor's kid's bedroom and then he become Iron Man after that, I mean, you know,
Yeah.
I just hope that Jonathan Major stay out of the headlines for the wrong reasons, and hopefully he comes back to doing what he does. And so, congrats to them.
Yeah, salute to them, man. You know what I'm saying? Because what's her name? Devon Franklin got engaged about a month or two ago.
I'm sick of
So
it.
both of them have found somebody else, man. But y'all know what to do, y'all. Until next time, continue with that executive mindset.
And most definitely keep it presidential.
Salute.
Arrivederci. Bow.
Oh, come on.